Pro boxing fans here with none other than my good friend Dillian Whyte. Dean, you've got the gloves on, you know, in this coronavirus period that we're in.
Is it coronavirus or coronavirus?
Coronavirus.
Say no to coronavirus.
Dean, first of all, how are you? How's things?
I'm alright, you know, I'm just trying to keep well, trying to keep away from the shaking of hands, the elbows and stuff. We got to get with that, or the old foot and that. But yeah, all is well, man. It's that coronavirus is really doing a number on the scene. You know, it's affecting the football, it's affecting boxing abroad, and it's affecting people just even in their ordinary day lives. The food and stuff, you go into the bloody shopping malls, there's no bloody toilet roll. It's all empty, all the shelves are gone. So yeah, tricky time.
Obviously, in regards to the coronavirus, we've got to be serious in regards to the elderly that out there. You know, people out there who I know are panic buying, but there's a lot of elderly out there
whose shelves are empty.
It's about looking after the elderly who seem to be the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
So you know, people got to be a bit vigilant, got to be a bit careful on what they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about why we're here. Usyk-Chisora.
Yeah.
There's a reason why you're here. You actually told me off camera one of your guys is going to be sparring, you know.
He's been sparring with Chisora for the whole time anyway. So he's over there anyway. Hey,
call him in.
Yeah, he's been sparring with Chisora from the beginning. So he does southpaw. He's a cruiserweight.
What's his name? Introduce the fans.
Tell you his name, pronounce it.
Ivy Porter.
Okay, and obviously he just described your style, southpaw, bought in Sport Chisora before. Just talk to me about what you've offered in camp.
That's obviously the movement. Obviously similar style to Usyk. Obviously I'm not that similar, but obviously similar style to him.
Trying to mimic the style.
Mimic the style. Movement and stuff like that. Just the awkwardness. The jabbing, moving off,
and
the left,
the turning off, the spinning off,
all that kind of stuff.
He does all of that. He's got good movements too. So.
And when I was speaking to you off camera, you say maybe you're looking at getting him on a few shows. Is there any progress in regards to that?
Yeah, potentially he should be on this card. Obviously, that's what we're led to believe. But nothing's pinned down as yet. Nothing's nailed down until it's all signed on a dotted line. So we've got to see. Yeah.
For the fans that don't know yourself, just talk to us about what's got you into boxing. A lot of people, it's a grueling sport. It's a sport when you're in that ring, you're on your own. But what got you into boxing?
This guy right next to me, him and Dillian Whyte, got me into boxing. I used to just young kid, used to just push weights and all that. And then I used to see Dillian and Big Dean here in the back. They used to do some boxing. I was like, what's going on here? Muay Thai and all that. So I was like, oh, this looks nice. I want something. I went to the back there. I started to talk to them. I said, you're coming on Sunday.
We used to give him that smoke.
He was giving me the smoke. They used to beat me up.
He was huge, This man had muscles coming out of everywhere as well. But I was big anyway. Yeah, so it was good. I was like, yeah, that's a good guy to learn on. Let me, introduce him to the world of boxing and martial arts. So he's to be surprising, he's actually done really good. That was a long time ago, and he's come a long way. So, yeah.
For people that want to follow you on social media, just give them your social media handles.
It's World War 8 _ the juice.
That's a big old mouthful.
You might have to change that, dude. That's a long one.
Listen, I don't know. It's hard to find. You're right. It is. We'll have to look at it in the future, but you're right. He's a nutty one.
Let's talk about this fight, Usyk-Chisora. I normally talk to you about fights anyway. We normally sit down and talk. Well, we normally talk about a lot of fights, but Usyk-Chisora. I was talking to Eddie Hearn before. I said to him, interesting fact. 2012, Chisora was fighting David Haye at Upton Park. 2012, Usyk was in the Olympics. So you see how Derek Chisora is still fighting at the top in 2020.
Exactly. He's been around the game, and he's been a household name, and he's seen it. He's done it. Look, before then, obviously, who did he fight? He fought Hellenius. He fought Vitali. He's fought them all. That's why he's the war. So now, hopefully, he's going to come and bring pain, thunder, and this man here is going to help him to try and get that victory come May the 23rd. I've been saying to him, he needs to up his game a little bit more, get yourself a bit more fit so you can press and push and help your teammate now that to the victory. It's a hard feat, but if there's anyone that can do it, it's potentially him because of the styles. I think these two styles should match. Chisora's going to come forward, press, try and sit on his chest and do what he does best, man. Hit whatever is available to him.
Is Usyk that enigma in the heavyweight division? Nobody knows what to expect of him.
course not. Yeah, but not what I mean. Of course, in terms of no, of course not. What I mean is, he's dominated. He was so good at cruiserweight, but this is a different ball game. As you saw it there, if you saw him next to Chisora, he's so small. He's there's like a little guy that could be next to them, which would make up Chisora. Chisora is a unit, you know what I mean? The only difference is it's not about size or anything, but there is that power, there is that presence, there is that strength at heavyweight. That's why they got weight categories. He's going to come in, he's going to be a phenomenal mover. But what I'm hoping I'll see is Chisora cutting the ring and pressing him back and doing maybe Ape Juice style, whatever he said his name was, on Instagram, and bringing the pain, man, you know what I mean? But I think it's quite weird that they come up and you'd fight Witherspoon, and then you'd fight someone like Chisora, because it's such a contrast, you know what I mean? So let's see what happens anyway, but I think it makes for an interesting fight, and if you can pull it off, it's going to be one hell of an upset for the history books.
We spoke about styles then. They always say that a boxer beats a brawler. Do you feel like yourself, somebody who's been in with Derek Chisora, that he's more than a brawler?
Yeah, I don't want to let off too much secrets what we're doing in camp, but I know May 23rd you're going to see a whole new, reborn Derek Chisora, because the stuff in sparring is magical what he's been doing there, because I'm moving around and the other guys he's sparring with are moving around, but he's knocking them all out, you know what I mean? Touch wood. I've been surviving, me and Brian Jennings, but the rest of the guys, he's been laying them out, and we keep on getting new sparring partners from all parts of England and all that. So he's on form. I would say that Derek is on form.
Yeah, to be honest, he's been taking it serious from it was announced. Remember, like he just said up there, it's his golden ticket. Yeah. As you heard Eddie Hearn, he's saying he's in shape, and I've said this before. That he's been in shape. I mean, since the alliance with David Haye, they've taken this really serious, and David has been the guy who's got the rod up his back and the fire and saying, listen, how much do you want this? Show me how you want this. I'll go and do what I can do as your manager to deliver the fights and get you the money and get you this and get that. But you show me in the gym. And he's been showing him. He's beating all the numbers, like he said, and he's working his socks off, and then he's got sparring partners in there, and he's cleaning their plates. But listen, it's all good, but come May the 21st, I just hope we have an explosive fight and it'll live up to what we're expecting. I hope it doesn't become dull because Usyk wants to, move around and he can't get hold of him, because in the past I know he might have had trouble with people that move. I'm hoping he just cuts the ring and lets his hand go and hits anywhere. Hips, spine, kneecap, whatever. Blow out something so he can't run no more, you get me? But let's see what happens.
Let's talk about Dillian Whyte, another big fight in the heavyweight division. Yeah. The heavyweight division seems to be booming this year. We had Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder. We've obviously got this fight. We've got your brother's fight. Yeah. We've got Anthony Joshua fighting Plea. So there's a good amount of fights happening this year. But let's talk about Dillian's fight with Povetkin, a fight that he didn't necessarily need to take. And I keep asking this question quite often, that he's waiting for this WBC opportunity, but he's still fighting, good level opponents that not other people seem to be fighting. Just talk to me about this fight, Dillian Whyte, Povetkin. We know Povetkin fought last in Saudi, so did Dillian. Yeah. Just give me your sort of overview on the fight.
My opinion is, this is a great fight for the fans. If you're talking about explosive, if you're talking about desire and purpose, these guys are the epitome of it. You've got someone who's at the tail end of their career. I don't want to talk about that so much. When I say tail end, because he's 40 years of age and Dillian's 31, there's that contrast. This man's only been beaten by the elite of the elite, Anthony Joshua, Vladimir Klitschko. But he was a gold medal Olympian, and then he was a former world champion. And he's got vast experience, which shouldn't be, undermined or overlooked. A lot of people are talking about age, but age is only a number. Look, Vladimir went in there and put up a hell of a performance against Anthony Joshua and nearly got the win. And that was 42 or 41 was he, whatever he was. And then he went in there at 38 or whatever he was and broke Joshua's nose and put up a great performance. So we can't really keep talking about age. Experience, if you're, age is only a number. If you've got experience can outmaneuver and outwit, age. So this fight is definitely a good fight. I think the styles will gel, battle of the left hooks. The only thing is I don't think he's been in there with anyone who probably punches as hard as Dillian Whyte does to the body. And that's going to be interesting how he takes the punch and kind of what's the word, is responds, you know, because he's an old guy now. So taking that kind of level to the body, can he take that and perform still? Because taking body shots drain you a lot. So it's going to be interesting. But I think in this fight, it'll be interesting to see if Dill's smart enough. But he'll go out with a great plan and execute it really well and get a brilliant victory and make a statement. Because, you know, I think it's right. It's maybe about timing. It should be right time. I still think it's a very, very difficult time. But I mean, because of the Marius Whyte fight, because he wasn't happy, because he came in 2 stone heavier, he's going to be that more explosive, that more strong, that more in shape. So he's going to come in and he probably want to make a statement in terms of, you know, showing how far he's come from December in Saudi, being made the second, and showing that, you know, he deserves to be up there in the top 3 in the, you know, in the world, to show you what he can do. And on that night, I hope he gets a great knockout. That's what I'm hoping for. But we'll take a win however it comes. I think it's going to be a very, very hard fight.
I spoke just then about Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. I just want to talk to you about the aftermath. So obviously afterwards, we know that Deontay Wilder lost. But firstly, there was talk about the garments, the actual suit that he wore that was 40 pounds or so heavy. He said it weakened his legs already. He was worse off in the fight. Yeah. Just give me your response. First of all, just give me your response in regard to that. And then, Dean, I'm going to get your response as well.
I think the suit is nonsense because he's come up many times wearing different kind of suits, and there was no excuses then. I just want the better man won. Tyson Fury was just on fire that night. He said what he was going to do. Lots of people didn't believe him. I was one of them who did believe him. He was going to go out there. He went to Sugar Hill, the Kronk gym, and then took the Kronks down, came out there and put on Wilder. Wilder wasn't expecting that. So this whole business of wearing the suit was £40, but he, in his own mouth, he said he was trained with a £40 suit before. So it doesn't add up, you know what I'm trying to say? So he's talking about, so he didn't have one excuse. He had the £40 suit. He said his coach in the corner was influenced, the ref was influenced. There's too much excuses to say. If it was me, I would say, you know what, Tyson Fury won, he was a better man, and that's it.
Dean?
Yeah, I could just only echo what he's saying. He's actually said everything. Listen, Tyson Fury was exceptional on the night. They you know, I'm not. I always said I believed he was going to win because he won the first fight. I believe he's going to win the second fight. If there was a possibility, it was a slim possibility that Deontay Wilder could get a knockout. But what you got to look at is he wasn't scared of Deontay Wilder. He wasn't scared of the power. He took his best shot and got up and came back and rallied back in that last round also. So when you add all of those to the equation, you look at it and you say, well, this is as you said, this man's a small man. He's got skinny legs. You know what I mean? And even Dillian said it many times before. Listen, if you push Deontay Wilder back, he's going to fold, he's going to crumble. And Tyson Fury went out there and done it. Dill didn't get his opportunity to go out there and put his words into action and do it, but the Gypsy King did. And we need to give him credit because, listen, at the end of the day, this man was talked about as the second coming. He's going to go down in the history books. He would have beat Tyson, he would beat Lennox. There was so many talk about that. This man went and put a stop to all of that. I know Joshua and those guys are talking about the fight, and all this time it didn't manage to materialise, but the Gypsy King and his team managed to get the fight not once but twice, and they went out there and demonstrated how you go about cleaning someone's slate and how you deflect and defer the power and the might of Deontay Wilder. So listen, it's going to be a good time. I think Deontay Wilder, there seemed to be a little bit of an issue with him in that fight from what I can see. I'm not giving an excuse, but he did seem off his job somewhat. But I believe in the third fight in the trilogy, I think he will be a little bit better. You know, sometimes a loss is sometimes, you know, a reflection. You go back and you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, you know what? The desire and hunger, I want this more and this is what I got to do. There's too much yes men sometimes, and maybe those people in his corner weren't, you know, saying to him, you know, maybe he needs to go and work on this in the gym, maybe he needs to go and work on that, because he was winning. Now that you've lost, he might have to go back and actually assess himself and say to himself, you know what, I can't just rely on my power. Now I need to actually, you know, take advice. Or when someone said, maybe work on the jab, maybe work on your footwork, maybe I need to go back and look at that and assess that. So maybe this might be the start of something where he'll come back and say to himself, you know what, let me go back to the drawing board, heed some advice, check my team that's around me, and then try and make a decision on what I do going forward. And I think it's going to make electrifying third fight a trilogy, but I still think Tyson Fury's going to win. Sorry, Mayo Maka.
Final question for both guys after the Fury fight and the win. Straight away, Eddie Hearn, the rest of the boxing public demanded a fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. I know obviously your brother's involved in the mix, but when it comes to 1 versus 2, I think because they're both holding belts, everyone will see that fight. So if they were to fight, just talk to me how that fight would go.
With Tyson Fury and
Joshua.
Do you know what? I've been tossing and turning in bed thinking about that. I feel like Joshua can win the fight. I mean, I like Joshua, I like Fury, I like Deontay, I like Dillian Whyte. But Fury right now has the momentum, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? He's winning the game. He said before he's been unified champion. He's won all the belts. He beat Klitschko, got the 4 belts though. He's beat Wilder. He's the only boxer second time to Muhammad Ali who's won the Ring Magazine belt twice. So he's down in history already. So right now you've got to give the momentum to Tyson Fury. But you're pulling my leg here. I'm going to go for a draw.
That was sitting on the fence.
That was a total sitting on the fence. You know what? I'm going to break it down a little bit different also. That was a good analogy. But what I'll look at is this. There's 2 ways to look at this because Joshua's unified champ right now. Joshua kind of, you know, I've said it before. In terms of Tyson Fury resurrected the game when and opened up a whole can of worms when he beat Klitschko in 2015. But then Joshua came onto the scene and awoken heavyweight boxing and the boxing in the UK in general, and got general people just tuning into boxing and, you know, coming to the shows and filling out arenas and doing all that. And he's done an amazing job and coming and bringing the sport, transcending it, and then adding our bro Dillian Whyte coming in to the mix, Chisora, and bringing everything to the forefront. But what I'll look at is, I look at the fights. For me, it's a 50-50 fight. Both guys are you know, very good talents. Their styles are so different. But when I look at it, I think Joshua's resume, for me, is just a little bit better in terms of the opponents, the caliber of opponents he's faced. But what I would say is at the same time, there is some standout stuff Tyson Fury has done. So there's an argument for both guys, you know, in terms of what they've done.
So you picking?
In the game of sport. I'm going to probably go like you, man. I'll probably sit on the fence, you know, because I don't want to upset anybody. But what I would say is going to be intriguing, it's going to be fascinating, and I hope, you know, whenever it does get made, hopefully it gets made after Dill's WBC mandatory shot first. And when it gets made after that, we can all have a song and dance and talk about whoever wants to fight. But, you know, hopefully by then, if that happens, Dill fights, Dill will be the winner, and then Dill will have to fight him, so it doesn't matter. But, you know, you get where I'm going anyway. Because we're talking about this, and Dill's been waiting over 1,000 days. He should get his opportunity. But if we're talking hypothetically, it is a hard fight, and it is a hard one to pull. But like I said, going back to the fun stuff, Dillian Whyte first, and those guys after. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what happens, man. But I think I'll sit on the fence for the minute myself, and I'm just going to be intrigued to watch an amazing fight.
Cool. Guys, I've taken nearly 20 minutes of your time, so thank you very much. Good luck with yourself in regards to getting this fight. Dean, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.